Level 1, the garage. You're 17. You watch a MIG welding video on YouTube. Then you watch it again. You drive to Harbor Freight and come back with a titanium 125 flux core welder, a cheap auto-darkening helmet, and a pair of leather gloves already too big for your hands. You clamp the ground to a piece of scrap angle iron your dad had in the corner. You pull the trigger. The arc pops. The wire sticks. You jerk back. You try again. The first bead looks like a dead caterpillar. The second is slightly less embarrassing. By the end of the first week, you're burning through scrap every night. Not making anything, just running beads. Flat position, same motion. You start to feel when the arc is stable. You start to hear it, a steady crackle like bacon in a pan. Your dad walks out one evening, looks at the piece, says nothing, nods once, goes back inside. You stand under the fluorescent light with slag on your jacket and you think, I want to do this for real. Nobody pays you. Nobody teaches you. It's just you, the arc, and the scrap pile. But that nod is the reason everything else happens. Level 2, trade school. You enroll. Lincoln Tech, Tulsa Welding School, a community college with a real shop program. 7 months to 2 years, $5,000 to $15,000 depending on where you go. Day 1, you walk into a shop that smells like hot metal and grinding dust, and you realize fast that what you taught yourself in the garage was the foundation, not the education. You learn 4 positions: flat, horizontal, vertical, overhead. Overhead is the one that breaks people. Molten metal drips and finds every gap in your jacket. It lands on your neck, your wrist, your boot. You learn to seal everything before you strike an arc. You learn MIG, TIG, and stick. MIG is fast and forgiving. Stick works outdoors and win on dirty steel. TIG is slow and precise and unforgiving. Both hands, a foot pedal, and every variable matters every second. You learn to read blueprints and weld symbols. You learn joint prep, fit up, cleanliness, gap tolerance. You learn basic metallurgy, why you preheat certain steels, why stainless warps, why aluminum is its own category entirely. At the end of the program, you sit for your first AWSD 1.1 structural steel certification. A certified welding inspector examines your coupon. Visual check, bend test, you pass. You put that cert on a resume and walk into your first shop job at $19 an hour. It's loud and hot and smells like ozone and burnt flux. And you show up every single day because you know this is the bottom rung and you're not staying here. Level 3, the union apprentice. You knock on the door of a union hall. The big 3 for welders are the iron workers, the UA pipe fitters, and the boilermakers. You sign book 1. Your name goes on a list. Months later, sometimes 6, sometimes 14, you get the call. You show up at the job site at 6 a.m. with your gear and a hard hat, and you say nothing unless you're spoken to. First-year apprentice rate runs 50 to 60% of journeyman scale. In UA, local 539 in Houston, that's around $24 an hour. In ironworkers, local 40 in New York, first-year apprentices start closer to $32. The scale climbs with every 1,000 hours you log. You will log 8,000 hours before you sit for the Journeyman exam. 4 to 5 years of work. You spend the first months at the bottom. You grind, you prep joints, you tack and hold while the Journeyman welds. Your foreman doesn't explain things twice. You learn that fit up is everything. A joint out of tolerance going in will never be right coming out, no matter how good the welder. You learn to prep your own joints, set your own gaps, and own the piece from tack to final pass. At month 6, you lay your first root pass on a pipe. A journeyman looks at it, says nothing, grinds a small section, re-examines, walks away. 3 days later, the foreman puts you on a more complex piece. That's how you know. You pass your 6G pipe certification. Pipe fixed at 45 degrees, every welding orientation at once. No repositioning. The hardest position test in the trade. That cert opens doors, wide ones. You log every hour. You move up the steps. You buy a used F-150. The Harbor Freight welder from the garage is in a box in your closet. You don't throw it away. Level 4, the Journeyman. You sit for the Journeyman exam. You pass. The wage card now reads $38 to $48 an hour straight time, plus full health insurance, plus a defined benefit pension. In UA, Local 38 in San Francisco, you're looking at over $60 an hour in total package. Iron workers in New York push the same. The work changes completely. You are no longer the one prepping the joint. You are the one certifying it. You tailboard the crew every morning. You review the work scope, the material specs, and the welding procedure specification, the WPS, that tells you exactly what filler metal, what heat input, what preheat temperature is required for this joint on this material. You call the inspector when the joint is ready. The X-ray machine or the ultrasonic tester will look inside your weld. If it finds something wrong, that is documented. A rejected weld on your certification record requires written explanation, a repair procedure, a retest. A journeyman who does this right keeps that record clean. Doing it right means stopping when something is off. It means saying out loud when the fit-up is wrong before you ever strike an arc. A 25-year journeyman pipe welder named Dennis Calhoun told a trade publication, "The standard is exact every time, not most times, every time." You wake up at 4:30 in the morning, you drive to the site, you make sure the standard goes with you. Because if that joint fails an inspection 2 years from now, it is on your certification record. That weight is real. That weight is also what makes the card mean something. Level 5, the specialist. Now you pick a lane. Certified pipe welders on cross-country oil and gas transmission lines earn $40 to $60 an hour plus $120 per diem plus a company truck. A productive pipeline welder running good weather and steady work clears $130,000 to $160,000 a year. Some push further. Pressure vessel welders in refineries and petrochemical plants work under ASME Section 9, the Pressure Vessel Code. These joints hold hydrocarbons at high temperature and pressure. Failure means fire, explosion, fatality. The certification requirements are strict and the pay reflects it. Aerospace TIG welders working on titanium airframe structures or aluminum fuel systems hold D17.1 certifications, the Aerospace Welding Code, and work in environments where the temperature and humidity of the room are monitored during the weld. One bad bead scraps a component worth more than your truck. Nuclear welders inside reactor containment structures hold qualifications so specific that a few hundred people in the country are certified for exactly that work. The documentation required for a single weld can run 40 pages. Commercial underwater welders, certified divers qualified in wet or hyperbaric welding, can earn $100,000 to $300,000 a year depending on depth, location, and job type. The fatality rate is the highest of any skilled trade in America. The people who do it know that number, and they do it anyway. You pick your lane. You build your certifications. You become the person the foreman calls when nobody else on the crew can do it. Level 6, the storm season. A pipeline ruptures. A refinery goes unplanned down. A hurricane crosses the Gulf and knocks out infrastructure across 3 states. The phone rings at 3 a.m. You answer it. You throw your hood and your gear bag in the truck, and you drive. Storm work and emergency industrial response is where the biggest single-season paychecks in the welding trade happen. The overtime structure on mutual aid contracts runs straight time for the first 8 hours, time and a half through hour 16, double time on the 7th consecutive day, per diem on top. Company truck, company fuel. A single 3-week storm deployment running 16-hour days can generate $20,000 to $30,000 in gross pay. Stack 2 deployments back-to-back in a bad Gulf season, and you are talking about numbers that make people quiet when you say them out loud. Boilermakers and pipe fitters who worked back-to-back Gulf Coast hurricane seasons have cleared $250,000 in a single calendar year. These are W-2 years. Taxable income. Real money deposited into real accounts. You work them because you trained for them. Because the 8,000 apprenticeship hours and the AWS certs and the ASME quals and the 6G pipe cert all exist for exactly this moment. When a plant needs to come back online and nobody has time to wait for someone who isn't ready, you are ready. You drive home at the end of the season with your hands still smelling like flux. Your wife doesn't ask what the season cost you. She doesn't have to. The check is already in the account. 12 years from the harbor freight welder in the driveway to a pipeline ticket and a storm purse. The $179 machine your dad lets you plug into the garage outlet is the unit the whole ladder's built on. Every cert on your wallet card, Every hour logged in your apprenticeship book, every x-ray that came back clean, it all traces to that first bead on a piece of scrap angle iron under a fluorescent light. The kid down the street is 17. He just watched a YouTube video on MIG welding. He watched it twice. He's got scrap metal in the driveway and a Harbor Freight helmet on his head, and he has no idea where this goes. You wave from the truck. He waves back. The keys are on the hook by the door, and they're yours.